Welcome to our Cultivate presentation about Growth Track. This presentation is all about how you, the small business owner, can continually add new customers. The whole idea here is that the number one job for all small business owners is to continually add new customers. This is the most important objective that we have as business owners. So we're going to take a look at the process that we use at Cultivate called the Growth Track to help the small business to continually add new customers. And what we're going to take a look at is, first of all, do you have a growth plan? You know, what is the strategy that is driving that plan? What are the steps and the process of that plan? You know, what is the cost to you in times and dollars, you know, that you're spending each week to make this happen? You know, how are you doing this consistently every single week, putting some effort into this process? And how do you know if it's working or what you're trying to do needs to be changed? We meet with hundreds of small businesses every year, and we consistently hear some reasons why it is so hard for small businesses to put a process in place to continually add new customers. You know, one of these is probably going to resonate with you. I can't afford it, or I just don't have the time. Maybe you pay someone to try and help you to do this. Maybe you feel like you get all of your business from networking and referrals, so you don't need to have a marketing plan or a growth strategy plan. Maybe you just have too many customers as it is. And as silly as that may sound to some businesses, we actually have some of our members, especially those in like the home remodeling and trades businesses, they cannot keep up with what they have right now. So why would you even do this? You know, maybe you feel like I'm already very active on social media. You feel like maybe you're kind of doing everything that you should be doing. You know, maybe you just don't know where to start. You know, maybe you've tried some things in the past and they just didn't work for you, and you're convinced that this just isn't going to work for your business. Or maybe you've put a lot of work into launching a new website and you feel like you're done with that. So like, it's not that old, like why should I have to keep working on this? So one of these are probably what's holding a lot of you back in putting this growth plan together. So the first thing I like to point out is this is something that every small business is gonna somehow find a way to devote 2 to 4 hours a week to this process. And that might sound like a lot to some, it might not sound like a lot to others. Chances are you're doing something already to grow your business. Maybe you're busy posting stuff to social media, you know, you're trying to, you know, handle emails to customers, you know, all these things that you're trying to do. You know, chances are you're already putting some amount of work and effort each week into growing your business. This is gonna hopefully bring some focus and purpose and structure to that time that you're spending. And it may be that you can have a team member help you with large chunks of that work each week, but in my opinion, especially most small businesses are not very, it's not very effective to try and outsource this to a vendor to do for you, because it really is driven from you, the business owner. You are the chief person in charge of trying to continually grow your business, and you're the chief person in charge of figuring out how you're going to improve this process of building trust with customers. Very few vendors are going to be able to do that for you. So the first step is analyze. So analyze what areas of your digital marketing are weak. You know, what are the missed opportunities, you know, where you could be reaching your audience. So there's things that you can do to review your lead results, your sales conversions, your analytics, you know, Google Search Console information, keyword research, your competition, the growth track report that we create for you. These are all different things that you can look at to better understand what areas of your digital marketing are weak, what are the missed opportunities that you have to reach your audience. So there's 2 different ways that we help our members to do this. So I'm going to talk about 2 kinds of membership that we have at Cultivate. The first is what we call our Basics membership, and this is free, and it's my goal that everybody watching this presentation just takes 20 minutes, maybe not even that long, to sign up to become a free Basics member. So this is what we do. So with our free basics membership, one of the first things that's going to happen as part of your onboarding process is we are going to go through and score your website and some of your other digital marketing to really look at things that are on your site and even some things that are not on your site that really are important trust building factors. So there's some things that you maybe are doing well, and there's some things that need some work. And we're going to go through a scoring process and create a report for free to give you that information, and you'll be able to log in at cultivateworks.org to view that report. The next thing you're also going to be able to do is we're going to make available to you as part of that membership. You'll have instant access when you sign up as a Cultivate member on our website, is access to these self-guided lessons that are going to videos and templates that you're going to be able to access to go through many of these steps in more detail. So earlier in this presentation, I talked about a presentation to develop your own unique value proposition and call to action. We have a whole presentation on how to do that. So there's dozens of these presentations that we have in the e-learning system, along with sometimes templates and other resources. So, but for our basics members, this is largely a self-guided process. So you're going to really be limited to whatever you can do within the web platform or the CMS, the content management system that you use for your digital marketing for your website. So maybe you're using Wix or Squarespace, or maybe you're even using WordPress or some other web builder. You know, you're going to be limited to whatever the tools and bells and whistles are that that particular platform has. For our pro members, pro membership is really for those businesses that need someone that can come alongside, roll up their shirt sleeves, and help with implementation. Again, our overall approach is that if it comes down to knowledge, we are going to make every effort to give that away, make that freely available to all of our members. When it comes to implementation, where we're actually getting under the hood and working on this stuff with you and alongside you, that's where we have this pro membership. It's $200 a month. It's a month-to-month membership. But the first thing that we do, as well as we, of course, still create this website score, gauge all these factors, and create that report for you. But what we're going to then do is move in the direction of creating this digital marketing toolkit for you, this platform to really give you all the things that you're going to need to do this effectively. All the tactics that I'm talking about, a lot of times to be able to get the analytics or to be able to easily make edits and revisions to your site, meet some of these other trust building factors, you're really going to need a more robust platform for that. So we use WordPress for our members, and we use a theme in WordPress called Divi that's very powerful. And the big thing here is we're basically setting up a website for you that a digital marketing vendor would charge thousands of dollars to do this initial setup for and build out for you. So we have no setup cost for this. It's just a month-to-month, $200 a month membership. And we're going to do the best we can to kind of do everything we can within the parameters of what we're able to do as part of that membership. So the first step is to analyze. Once we get that site set up for you, then we're going to help you configure your Google My Business listing, which we believe is one of the most important things that you can do to promote your business through local search marketing, obviously on Google. And we're also going to add to your site Google Search Console and Google Analytics. So Search Console helps you to understand what is happening on the internet with relation to your website before people even come to your site. So what search terms do you show up under? You know, what does that look like? How many people are clicking on those searches where you're showing up, things that you would not even know otherwise. So it's kind of before people get to your site. And then Google Analytics is the tool that really gives us insight into what is happening for people that are in your site. How did they get to your site? What did they search on to come to your site? You know, how long did they spend? All that kind of information that's important. So we, of course, put all those tools on your site as part of your setup. The next step in this cycle is to really review your lead results. You know, how many leads are you getting? What What do these sales conversions look like? Are these leads moving to where people are actually becoming customers? Again, looking deeper at your analytics, the Search Console data, your keyword research, your competition, your growth track report. So for our basics members, again, this is a largely self-guided effort, but one of the first things we would suggest that you do is go through one of our lessons that will help you to do the keyword research, so you can understand really what the top 20 or so keyword search terms are that your customers are looking for to solve the particular problem that your product or service solves for them. So really understanding, we often know we have some intuitive idea on what people are looking for, but we want to know for sure what people are looking for. So there are some tools that we show you how to use. It doesn't cost you anything, but it might take you an hour or two to go through and do this keyword research. So at least you know like what you should be going after online. The next thing is this growth track score and this report. We're going to make that for you. Even if you're a free member, you're going to be able to access that at our website, cultivateworks.org, on a page that's private for you. And what this is really a tool to help you measure your customer trust building process. So that's something we're going to build for you, for every member. It might take us a month into your membership before we're able to get that all done for you. We spend quite a bit of time putting that together for all of our members. And then it really becomes up to you to use sort of like your, again, self-guided way of looking at your own marketing metrics to see how you're doing. For our pro members, we'll actually do that keyword research for you, at least the bulk of that work. There's still a fine-tuning of that keyword research that you need to weigh in on. And then, of course, we're going to still make that growth track score and report for you, help you better understand some of these things you could do to improve your customer trust building process. And then also for our pro members, if you would like it, we can add you to a license that we have to a tool that really brings all of your marketing metrics together into one place. So you don't have to go out separately to Search Console and Google Analytics and your Facebook Insights and Google My Business Insights and all these, half a dozen different places to see those marketing impacts. It'll just bring all those together for you automatically, email you a report that you can also view online. So that's something that we do complimentary for our pro members. Marketing process is to outline what is needed to support the structure on your website. Like, what are the topics and the key points that you need to communicate in your messaging? So it really comes down to thinking through what are the pages of products and services, information about our business, what are pages or posts of articles, information that can answer questions that people have. What kind of videos or articles or graphics, need to be created to really tell that story and communicate that effectively to our customers. So for our free basics members, we will give you what we call our foundation profile template. This is a document where we step you through really thinking through all that core marketing messaging, what you offer, why buy from you, your call to action, some of those initial keyword search terms you think you should have, information about your business products or services. I'm really stepping through all that. We'll give you a template so you can do that yourself, and that becomes really sort of the tool that you use to really make sure that everything you're producing after that is really aligned with that messaging. Again, through our self-guided e-learning platform, we have lessons on how to create content, how to really properly structure a page. Most of what happens on Google is really comes down to having unique, quality, substantive content on your website. Google basically works with the words on your site, so we have to have great copy that is thorough and complete, and pages that are structured a certain way to really move the needle. And then we also have self-guided lessons on how to create your unique value proposition and call to action. You can do all that for free, cultivateworks.org. For our pro members, we take that foundation profile a step further. We still have you complete a first draft of that foundation profile, because there's certain business insights that only you are going to have. We will then take that, give that to one of our team members that's an expert at this, and she will review that information, prepare to interview you, do a 45-minute or so interview over Zoom or the phone with you, and then we'll spend the better part of a day custom writing the content for what we're calling this foundation profile. This profile that's going to really serve as like the foundation for all the marketing content that you're going to produce. So this is a huge value. Obviously, a digital marketing firm would charge thousands of dollars for that. We just include that. We just really find that is one of the essential steps in beginning this process. The next tool that we have as we're helping you to work on your website is we have a tool that we've developed called a page planner, which is really a worksheet to help you prepare all the initial copy and graphics for your website. And then we can take that and actually place that content into your initial pages for you. Cultivate will do that for you. But we're also going to train you on how to add and edit pages on your website yourself. So we're going to make sure you have all the tools to do that, so you don't have to incur any added expenses, and you really have no limitations on how much content you can produce. The last three parts of this process are to create, to publish, and then to refine. And then this whole cycle just loops and continues again and again. So the creation, that's obviously the step. Once you've done those other portions, to create these thorough pages of content on your website that align with your unique value proposition, what you offer, why buy from you, and your call to action. And then publishing this content. So there might be some changes that you need to make to the structure of your site. Maybe there's a menu or some other change that needs to happen. Maybe you need to implement an integration into your site to make this work properly, and then posting this everywhere you can possibly reuse this content. So sharing this page or post out to your social media, putting it in a monthly email blast, using variations of this in your ads, that whole publishing step, and then refining it. So just, as part of that process, does anything need adjusted? Does anything need realigned? Is this foundation profile that we created, is that still accurate? Is that still the benchmark that we want to kind of hold everything to moving forward? So if you're a free basics member, this is really a do-it-yourself process, using your own whatever website platform or CMS that you have. If you're a pro member, we're going to invite you to our Growth Track Labs, which we are currently offering at our Grove City location. So people travel in from out of town to attend these. These are really like work sessions, like hands-on work sessions, where we kind of repeat this process, make sure everybody is on the same page, and then we have team members that can come around and help you with very specific things related to making these changes. And we found that those labs are helpful just because it helps our members to just really set aside, a couple hours a month at least to come in and get hands-on help for that. We don't want you to get hung up on some structural change to your website that we might be able to do very quickly if we were just looking over your shoulder helping you. We want to help you to knock that out of the way so you can just focus on moving that forward. We also will support you virtually through Zoom and through email for technical support, as you're working on these things together. I'm Matt Yerkes. I'm the founder of Cultivate, and I prepared this presentation with the help of Tracy Bacon-Haster, one of our members. So what really drives what I am doing to try and help our members is, for most of us, entrepreneurship is the best opportunity that we have to change the trajectory of our life in a way that's going to impact generations. So that really drives a lot of what we do at Cultivate, is to help people along that journey. So that's kind of my personal mission of what I'm trying to do. And Tracy, she's the one that really just likes to pull together. And if we're going to work on these businesses, we might as well do this together. We share a common goal of trying to grow our businesses. So what we've done at Cultivate is we've put together a process, this process to help you to keep building a better business. And of course, the emphasis on building the better business is how do you continually add new customers? And that's what we're going to cover today in this presentation. Before I get too far into the presentation though, I just want to give you a little bit of information about who Cultivate is and what we do. So we're a nonprofit. We started in 2016, and it really grew out of my background as an entrepreneur. So I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship. We started this nonprofit, and we began helping members out of our first location, which was in Grove City, and is still there today. But we've grown. We now serve over 120 businesses. New businesses join us every single week. These businesses represent hundreds of jobs, millions in revenue and payroll. We have workshops and presentations that we do almost every month that people can join in person or by live stream. and we have hundreds and hundreds of presentation participants every single year. We have lots of things that we're working on that we try and do as a nonprofit to help you, the small business owner. We work with members across all types of industries. So I have a few on this slide to kind of share some of that, but really we work with just about any kind of business. And some of our member businesses actually have space in one of our business incubator facilities, whether they're just using a mailbox or meeting room or a cubicle or a private office. But about half of our members don't use our facilities at all. We are working with businesses all across the state of Ohio, a few members out of state, and they really represent a wide range of different kinds of businesses and industries, because many of the things that we cover in these presentations and workshops and support are really broadly applicable to many different kinds of businesses. So what we've done is really put together 4 different programs that we use to help small businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs. So the first thing that we do is we have these in-person business lessons and networking. So some people are looking at this presentation online, some people are joining and watching this in person. So we have these almost every single month. We host these in-person business lessons and networking presentations, but we also take almost everything that we do and we put those online, not just as videos on our website, but we break them down into an e-learning platform at our website at cultivateworks.org. So we make that freely available to all of our members, even a free membership that I'll tell you about that you can have access to. And what's different about the business lessons that are in the e-learning platform is they often include templates and spreadsheets and other resources that might help you along the way. We have, for every member, we create a business dashboard that we call your growth track report. This includes creating a score for your website, so you can see some of those things that you're doing well and some of those things that you could be doing better. And I'm going to talk more about it later in this presentation. And then for those members that are really local to our incubator spaces, for those folks, it often makes sense to have some kind of a space to meet with clients, to get some work done in our offices. Maybe they need a small private office or workspace for their team. And we even have members that are from outside the Columbus area that will use our meeting rooms and mailboxes in Columbus just to have that presence, that sort of a sales office in the Columbus area. So we're going to cover 3 things in this presentation. The first is we're going to talk about the strategy. What is this strategy to grow your business? What does this trust building process look like? Why, in fact, is it a trust building process? The second thing we're going to look at is really kind of getting more into the weeds of some of the tactics of how we do this. We're going to tell you how we help our members to do this, and you can take those things and do those on your own, or you could explore the different levels of membership that we have to get hands-on help for this. You know, really what it comes down to at Cultivate, our approach in general is anything we can do to share knowledge, we're typically going to do that for free. When it comes time to helping you with implementation, that's usually where we have some membership requirements or even a small monthly fee to become a member. If we're going to roll up our shirt sleeves and meet with you every month and get some of this stuff done, help you with the implementation. So that's really where we'll talk about the tactics, but many of those are things you're going to be able to do on your own. And then lastly, just explaining the options that you have for Cultivate to support you in your business. So as we think about implementing a growth strategy for a business, what we have to keep in mind is this tortoise versus the hare approach to growing our business. What we're trying to do when it comes to building relationships with our customers, building trust with customers, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So this is going to take consistent work over a long period of time. You're going to have to constantly, cultivate this, nurture this, put elbow grease into this, and this is something that you are never going to stop working on until the day you decide to no longer have your business. So that's kind of the approach and the mentality that we'd like to set from the outset of this presentation, that this is a long-term process that's going to really bear fruit for us, but it's not something that we're going to do overnight and have a quick flash in the pan results from doing. So a lot of the trust building process that we're going to talk about, it really begins with your digital marketing. And the reason for that is most of our customers begin a search to solve a particular problem they begin this on Google. So they're going out online, they're looking for solutions to a problem that they have, and that is where this whole process often begins for many of our customers. Maybe we meet somebody at a networking event, maybe people see some of our social media, other things we're gonna do and we're gonna talk about to grow our audience, but it really comes down, to oftentimes it's highly involved with our digital marketing. And with any trust building, it's a process. So I just like to start by making the point that virtually no amount of digital marketing is gonna make up for a poor customer trust building process. So that is where we're going to put the focus of our initial attention, especially in the strategy phase of this, to think about how we can, really develop a customer trust building process. So when we look at any of the relationships that we have in our life, including those, of course, that deal with our customers, we need to build trust. And we look at this idea of building relational equity. And here's kind of the idea. The idea is every time we exceed an expectation in a relationship, we follow through on what we said we were going to do, or maybe we even go above and beyond what we said we were going to do, and we exceed the expectation of the person that we're trying to build trust with. When we do that, you can think of that as creating a trust deposit in like this fictitious trust bank account that we have in that relationship. So every time we exceed an expectation, we make a trust deposit, and every time we fail and we miss the expectations, we're taking a trust withdrawal. So the idea is over time, we have made more trust deposits into this relationship than we've taken out in trust withdrawals. And what that gives us is this relational equity, or you could think of it as accident forgiveness. So all of us, every business is eventually going to do something to miss the mark when they're serving a particular customer. It's going to happen. But hopefully we've made enough trust deposits with that customer that they're gonna, forgive a minor slip up in our providing of them services. So it's when we keep failing and keep letting them down and those trust withdrawals exceed these trust deposits, that's when they fire us as a customer or people exit a relationship. So kind of like to start with that idea of building relational equity. So this, again, we're trying to do is something that's gonna develop over the longer term. So to illustrate this concept, I have a simple example, and we're going to call this Dorian's trust building story. So here we have set up at a local farmer's market on a Saturday morning, all set up to sell fresh baked bread. Pre-COVID, we could have these, bread samples, all these little bite-sized morsels for people to try this wonderful fresh baked bread, lots of wonderful varieties. And here's kind of how this goes down. So people come to the farmer's market early on a Saturday morning. And the first thing that Dorian says is good morning. So they're walking by, just starts with good morning. Well, what happens? They turn and they look at the stand and at Dorian to see, what this is. So you could think of this in sort of an online comparison. When someone has eyeballs and they get this hello from you because they've seen a post of yours on social media, or they've seen something on your website, on Google, they've seen you show up in a search result, you could think of that as a way of saying hello or good morning. And then when they turn and acknowledge you, whether it's at the stand or they come to your website or click a link from your social media to your site, they see you, they engage you, and that is when we have to tell them this offer. We have to make some type of a statement that is going to engage them. What is the simplest first thing that we can do to draw them in, to engage them, so we can start to build this conversation, move into a relationship, and build trust with them. So in the case of the farmer's market, with this bread, the easiest first thing is try as many samples as you like. That's it. You said good morning, they turn and see you, come on up, try as many samples as you like. And we all have similar things for our business, whether it's book a free consultation or schedule a tour, whatever that thing is. At this point, they're still not like a qualified lead. We don't really know if they are in the market to buy bread, if maybe they are just being polite, but it gives us an opportunity to engage. And the next step is really this discovery stage, this trust building stage, where we can learn more about their needs and help better explain our products and services, and really kind of make the connection to if our product or service can solve the problem that this customer has. So they come up to the stand, maybe we do things to develop a rapport with them, we have some small talk, maybe there's people that are coming around and starting to see this energy around the stand, and a crowd gathers, and it just keeps drawing more and more interest to it. So this is kind of how this works, and eventually they trust, in this case, for Dorian, they trust in them, they trust in the product, they trust in the brand, and they sell 94 loaves of bread in 3 hours on a Saturday morning at the farmer's market, just killing it. But it all begins, with this process of how people first engage the hello all the way up to when they become a customer. So we use this simple example of Dorian selling bread at the farmer's market, but this process, this strategy, it really applies to all of our businesses. This is the same strategy that we use at Cultivate to get new members. So we use this for all of our customers, all of our members at Cultivate. This is the way that we try and help you to continually add new customers, and it looks like this. First, we're trying to keep growing our audience. We're going to talk about specifics and tactics of how we can do that, but that's the strategy, is to have as many hellos as we possibly can to keep growing this audience of who hears us saying hello. Next step is try the samples. How are we going to engage them? What is this offer going to be? To try as many samples as you like. What is that going to look like for your business? Next is this discovery step. How are you going to learn more about the needs of your customer, the specific customer? How can you resolve questions, objections, and really begin that trust building process with that customer? And then eventually, they trust in you, they trust in the product, they trust in your brand, and from there, how do you keep building trust even after you've won them as a customer, so that you can upsell and cross-sell your goods and services, you can have repeat business with that customer, and you can get reviews and referrals from that. So we kind of break this into two parts. There's the audience, and then there's the message and all that's going to happen as part of this strategy. So everything that we do is really going to begin with this first piece of information that you're going to have to articulate for your business. You could think of this in a way as your elevator pitch, but the marketing phrase that we use is it's your unique value proposition. And my simplest way of explaining what this is what you offer and why buy from you. And I have an abbreviation for that in several of the slides that we're going to cover for this presentation. But what you offer and why buy from you, that is the first and foremost thing that you as the business owner have to be able to articulate. So, here is a better, more professionally written explanation of what a unique value proposition is. It's this clear statement in line with your market's challenges and desires, communicating the unique contribution that your company, products, and services provide to your market that is different from your competitors. So this is what you offer and why buy from you. So we have to be able to explain that to every customer. This is the thing, what is it that sets you apart from your competitors? Why are you different? Why should I even buy from you? That is the most fundamental question that we have to answer for our customers. So when worded effectively, your customers will respond emphatically to your UVP. It will speak to their hearts and souls. It will reach them and touch them. So we have an entire presentation on how to develop your unique value proposition. So we're not going to completely unpack that right now, but just pointing out that this is the first piece of marketing content that has to be kind of the capstone or the cornerstone for this whole marketing strategy. Everything that we do, all the messaging that we create, and everything that we're trying to accomplish on your website, through your social media, everything that you do, whether you're meeting someone at a networking event or it's online, is communicating what you offer, why buy from you. There are lots of ways you can structure your unique value proposition. This is an easier to use formula that I really like, that I find is really practical for many people. It's Steve Blank came up with this. It's called Steve Blank's XYZ. And the idea, just kind of think of what you do in this formula. We help X to Y by Z. And just really put your business and what you do and why people should buy from you in that formula. So in this example, we help parents spend more quality time with their kids by providing parent-friendly play areas. So that was, some business that was their unique value proposition. So this is something that I think is attainable. It takes, some hours of work and coming back to it and refining it and refining it and refining it. But this is the most important piece of marketing content that is going to really be at the foundation of your marketing strategy, your growth strategy. So you're not going to be successful in continually adding new customers until you can really get this nailed down. So the second most important piece of information that we're going to have that's going to drive everything we do is the call to action. So in Dorian's example, the call to action was try as many samples as you like. What is the best first engagement step for your prospect to begin this trust building process? Like, what is the easiest first step? And there's some things I'd like to point out that we often see where this can go sideways and maybe not have an effective call to action. The first thing is we often tend to ask for too much too soon. The call to action wasn't good morning and then come on up and buy a loaf of bread. The call to action was come on up and try as many samples as you like. So we just tend to ask for too much too soon in many of our call to actions. It's the simplest first step. The second point is sometimes what we say is not what customers hear. So we have to road test this, run this by as many people as you can. Your website is a good place to start to test this out, but we often don't have as many visitors coming to our website where that can be an effective test. A simpler way to test this would be in a Facebook ad or some kind of digital ad that you can put in front of a lot of people for a very small amount of money and sort of road test that call to action to see if people bite and if that draws them in to take this first step. The next thing is to really make sure that this call to action is actually moving the relationship, the trust building process further along. For instance, the idea of trying as many samples as you like, people are going to come up, take a sample, and taste the bread. If they like the way that tastes, it's going to hopefully help them to take that next step at buying a loaf of bread. But sometimes we'll come up with call to actions that don't really necessarily move that relationship further, or they're not really highly correlated to the end goal that we have of what we want them to buy. So we can maybe get people responding to that call to action that don't actually end up becoming customers. So we have to think carefully about that. And this is something that it's okay to test out, lots of different call to action, as we hone in and figure out what it is that works best. But what we need to know is, okay, let's say somebody does accept this call to action, they've engaged, what's the next step? Like, we have to map that out so we know, okay, they've responded to this call to action. What is the next step after that and the next step after that that leads them all the way till they are closed and they are won as a customer? So we have to think through the rest of that process. We can't just leave it at the call to action, and we need to make sure that we're following all those additional steps. So if the call to action is to fill out a form and they become a lead on our website, we better make sure that someone is getting those leads that are emailed to us and is following up with them promptly and completely. If the call to action is to call now and someone calls a phone number on our website, we better make sure that someone is answering that phone and responding to these people promptly. So the first part of this presentation was really focused on this strategy, kind of the main purpose, like what we're trying to accomplish. Now I'm going to jump into the tactics. And here's how we're going to break this down. The first thing is we have this process that we've talked about for these hellos, growing who it is that can hear us. how do we keep building this audience? So the tactics related to growing our audience, saying more hellos, is figuring out how can we grow the reach of that audience? How can we improve the quality of the audience? Meaning that we're talking to more of the right people that have the potential to become a customer. How do we improve the execution of all of that? So to do that, there's tools and platforms that we have at our disposal to use. We need to figure out how this is actually going to grow. There's things that we're doing on our website and that are things that we're doing that aren't on our website but are still part of our digital marketing. And one of the wonderful things that we have with technology is we have a lot of options to gather metrics so we can measure how well we are doing at growing our hellos. So Google My Business, MailChimp, our social media, Google Analytics, all these sources of ways people can hear us, are trackable. Even down to our hustle as an entrepreneur, we can measure, how effective our hellos are when we go to networking events and other things like that. We can measure all of that to know if we're growing our hellos, and we just have to put processes in place to track that and to look at that, maybe once a month at least, to know if we're moving things in the right direction. Is all of that work that we're doing to grow our audience, to grow our hellos, is all of that work effective, or do we need to take a hard look at some of those things we're doing? The next part of this is the try as many samples as you like, the call to action and the unique value proposition. What are you saying and what are your customers hearing? So the first part of that was what you offer and why buy from you. So we need to look at the content messages that we're putting out. We need to look at our content plan or our content calendar of the frequency and the volume of content that we're producing. We need to look at the structure of that content and is it effective at accomplishing what we're trying to do. And we need to look at our content distribution. When we are doing things to produce content, whether it's a blog post or an article for our website or a page about our products and services, are we leveraging that as widely as possible to get the most bang for the buck? All that work that we put into producing a great piece of content, are we sharing that out to social media, to an email blast? Are we emailing that individually to customers that have particular questions about our products and services? What else can we do to reach people and have effective messaging and content around what we offer and why buy from you? And then our call to action, that first step, the offer, try as many samples as you like. What can we do to improve that? What can we do to have a variety of ways that people engage with that call to action? Maybe it's a form on our website. Maybe there's an option to call your business. Maybe there's other ways that you're communicating those messages. Maybe there's an in-person way that you can communicate that call to action. So we have all those things, and we then have to look at this process. How are we doing at improving this customer trust building process? Well, one of the tools that we give for free to all of our members, even the free membership that I'll tell you about later, is we create what we call your growth track score. And there's a variety of ways we use your growth track score, but one of the ways is to report to you some of those things that you could be doing better and some of those things that you could be doing well. So it's one of the tools that you're going to have to measure and evaluate, pivot your idea, adapt your call to action and your unique value proposition. So what I'm going to do now is really get into the nitty-gritty of the tactics. This is the process that we use to help our members to continually add new customers. This is like the actual how you do it. And I'm going to step through each of these different things, but it really starts with, you could think of this instead of like a checklist, really think of this as more of a process flow that is going to begin with this analyze step, and you're going to go through this sequence of steps every month or every week, whatever frequency you're able to do this, but you're going to continually repeat this process. It's a never-ending process that you're going to do again and again and again, but this is sort of the flow to how this works. So we're going to talk about the analyze, review, outline, create, publish, and refine. So these are the tactics that we're going to step through and help you explain some of the things that you can do at each stage. The Growth Track Foundation profile has really developed into an essential tool for our members. So whether you're doing this on your own as a free basics member, or we're spending the better part of a day to do this for you as a pro member, really what this looks at is we do your targeted keyword research. We help you to construct your unique value proposition, what you offer and why buy from you. We help you to hone your call to action. We'll actually custom write out for you, based on some information you provide in that interview, these supporting details so people really understand what they need to know about what you offer, why buy from you, and your call to action. Help you write this story about your business, like what do people need to know about your business? Maybe you're a family-owned business, maybe you're a woman-owned business, maybe you're a veteran-owned business, whatever this is, your fourth-generation family-owned business, whatever those things are that we want people to know about you. Write a description of your primary products and services. Develop a list of frequently asked questions. You're going to come up with that initial list, but we can help you to professionally write the question and the answer for your site. And then obviously we want to make sure we have good business contact information and links, so you have this in a way that you can use consistently everywhere you're going to use this on the web.